Well, hey guys, welcome back. Today I'd like to share with you how I made this beautiful, elegant fall decor piece. So I started out by painting these two baskets I picked up last spring at Dollar Tree. I painted them using this really beautiful blue juniper color in the Kills chalk paint that I picked up from Walmart. It really only took one good coat to get these where I wanted them to be. Next, I painted some of these orange carvable styrofoam pumpkins from Dollar Tree using that same spray paint in blue juniper. One thing I noticed, however, is that the spray paint kind of started to bubble up on the pumpkins as it dried. I was still able to use them in this project, but just keep that in mind if you don't like that look. And next time I think I would use like a primer or something like Mod Podge maybe prior to using a spray paint, or maybe just use an acrylic or an other kind of paint other than spray paint. And then I gave our Dollar Tree plunger a quick coat of paint using this white chalk paint from Walmart. These baskets proved quite challenging to cut, and if I'm being honest, they were actually a real pain. So I fast forwarded through most of this to save you all the agony because it took a long time for me to get these cut the way that I wanted to get them cut. I needed to, keep the integrity of the baskets, the weaves, so that it would kind of hug the handle of the plunger for more stability when I put them in position. So I didn't want to just get in there and cut everything up. I needed to have the smallest slot possible to keep the integrity of the basket intact as much as possible. And then I just put the basket on the plunger handle, got it to where I wanted it to be. I didn't want these to be just, straight or flat or whatever. I wanted them to be kind of angled a little bit. So I placed a few pumpkins in the bottom basket just so I could see where I'd want that top basket to be sitting. And then once I had that where I wanted it, I removed those pumpkins and I started to hot glue everything. I used quite a bit of hot glue on this. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't going to budge once finished. And I know everything probably looks a little bit rough right now, but I'm telling you, this piece turned out so beautifully and I absolutely love it. And keep in mind, no one's going to see the plunger handle anyway, so none of that matters. And paint another one of these carvable styrofoam pumpkins from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use this Waverly chalk paint from Walmart, and I'm going to take that stem out. This is just another styrofoam piece attached by a toothpick essentially, so I'm going to remove that and just paint this pumpkin using this chalk paint. And this came out much prettier in my opinion than when I used the spray paint. It didn't bubble up at all. It was a really pretty finish.
If we just hold on tight, this vision that I saw is getting closer every dawn.
And to make this job a little bit easier, I ended up using one of those long skewers from Dollar Tree. I just stuck it into the pumpkin and used that as my handle to finish painting it. And that actually worked out really well. just going to grab this little floral styrofoam stack, and I'm going to place the other end of that skewer into that stack and allow this to dry really well and set it aside until I'm ready for it. And then I'm going to remove the stems from these other two pumpkins, and I'm going to replace all of these stems with some branches I picked up in our yard. I just think they give them a more authentic look, and I just think it looks really pretty to have that little bit of a natural look in this display or this piece. Keep in mind though, these carvable pumpkins are hollow, so as you can see, the struggle was real keeping these pieces from falling inside the pumpkin before I could get them glued. But once I got the hot glue on, they stayed in place really nicely. And I'm not worried about that orange peeking through on the top either, because I will be adding a few more adornments to these a little bit later on. I just love the look of using sticks for the pumpkin stems. I think they're so cute. Now I'm going to glue the pumpkins on. So I'm basically putting the hot glue any place that I can where the pumpkin's going to touch, because I want to make sure that these are going to stay in place. So I added some to the basket, and then I also added some hot glue to the handle of the plunger. And I tried alternating these also just to keep everything balanced. So I was really excited at this point in this project because I feel like it's really coming together and it's starting to look really cool, and had to check it all out, just make sure that everything looked good and see what I needed next. And so I thought it was time to start adding some florals in. So this hydrangea pick is from Dollar Tree, and then I also have this bush of mini mums, and will likely use those as fillers toward the end of the project. These larger picks I had gotten from Joann's last season, or at the end of the fall season actually, and they were about 70% off. A fabulous deal, and I loved them. I knew that I would use them at some point, and I'm so glad I picked them up. They were perfect for this project. So before I started adding in the florals, I wanted to add in some of this floral foam, and I just cut it to size, wanted to fit it into the baskets and really get it in there snugly. And the floral foam, of course, is just to give your floral picks something to attach to, essentially. Once I got all the floral foam in the baskets, I began to add the floral picks. For the most part, what I do is I go from largest to smallest. I added my pumpkins first, the larger pumpkins, and now I'm adding some of my larger floral picks in, and I try to alternate them just to make sure everything stays balanced and cohesive. And I was getting really excited about this project as I moved along and started adding more adornments, more florals, some other pumpkins, because I really started to love the way it looked. And I still decorate our home in mostly the, I guess, traditional fall colors like orange and browns and yellows, things like that. But I have to tell you guys, I am absolutely loving this kind of, I guess it's a modern farmhouse color scheme where, color scheme, where it's the kind of light blues and the grays and the cream colors. And I really, really enjoyed putting this together. I think it turned out just so beautifully, and I love the colors. You might notice I'm always pushing the leaf part of my picks up toward the flowers. That's because when you use your picks in your projects, it's going to look much fuller if you've pushed those leaves up toward the flower part of the pick, if that makes sense. So I always make sure to do that before cutting or using any of my floral picks. I was adding in a little hot glue here and there just to make sure that everything, is going to stay in place really well. Anytime I make a project or any kind of a DIY, I want to make sure whether I'm selling it or giving it to someone as a gift or even utilizing it for myself in my own decor or what have you, I want to make sure it's going to stand the test of time. I don't want things falling apart on people or on myself. And so I think that any DIY should be really sturdy, and I should be able to store things without worrying that something's going to come apart. And that's something to remember if you're using hot glue in a project. Here's just a little tip in case you didn't know. Hot glue is sensitive to cold, and if you store anything in a cold place and you've used hot glue, it's likely to come apart, and just keep that in mind. So oftentimes if I'm going to be having something or making a DIY project that's going to be sitting outside or using for my front porch, for example, I am going to definitely be using another form of glue like E6000 or something along with my hot glue. There are some hot glues that are temp resistant. I think some of the Gorilla Glue versions might be, but I think that's a pretty good rule of thumb. Just if something's going to be outside or exposed to extreme temperatures, use a few different forms of glue for your projects. Loving this so far, you guys. So now I'm going to add in this floral moss or grass, or I'm not even sure what it's called. It's from Dollar Tree also. It's just a filler for all of the voids in my project. I'm using this kind of on the inside and catching all of those larger openings and voids, and this just always makes a project look much more finished. So I typically will use this in my floral projects, and I'm always going to add a little bit of hot glue in different areas so that at least some of that sticks and stays around the edges, and I want it to look kind of realistic as possible. And then once I finish with that, putting that floral grass, I don't know the actual name, but the floral grass in there, then I'm going to add in a few of these smaller pumpkins that I picked up at Walmart last season. Again, I went after the fall season and I got them 70% off. It was a great deal, and I'm so happy that I picked them up. They are perfect for this project. I'm just going to hot glue a few of these into a few kind of random places where I see there's kind of a larger void as well, and try to make sure everything stays balanced before I add in the rest of my florals.
Do you ever feel you don't get out what you're putting in? All your hopes and efforts are all in vain. Who will pick you up when you've
Now I'm
lost?
going to start adding in the rest of the florals. I'm just going to be placing these wherever there is a smaller void or in a place that's going to help balance out the project. And I'm going to be adding hot glue to all of these stems just to make sure there's something to adhere to, and so they don't fall out of the project and they're going to be really secure.
There must be a reason, and a little bit of faith has got to come my way. I was just a little girl when my mama used to say,
like every day. Oh, and if that someone makes you smile and leaves you with a scar, don't let them tell you what you feel or who you are. Oh, there must be more. There must be another way. There must be conscious, different things in different ways. There must be love. There must be a reason, and a little bit of faith has got to come my way. I gave it all to you for too There must be more. There must be another way. There must be conscious, different things in different ways. There must be more to the reason why we do it all for love. There must be more for a reason, and a little bit of faith has got to come my way. Has got to come my has got to come my way. How many smiles does it take to be happy? How many times do you have to feel lonely before you get the chance to meet someone? Before you get to meet someone like you? How many songs can you write about heartbreak? How to go on when you're fed up with mistakes? Maybe I just found the answers. Maybe I just found the answers in you. Come give me all your love. Right off the bat I knew I loved you. You had that sparkle in your eyes, some kind of shimmer in your presence, unlike no other I had met. You got me spinning out of context, not really sure what I should do. This is the reason I am leaving. I can't live with or without you. Oh, won't you sing to me? There ain't no other way but you sing to me, as simple as I say.
Now I'm going to use just some of the leftover leaves from a few of these floral picks, and I'm going to be placing those as the top part of the pumpkins, just putting them kind of in between the my little branch stems, and just making them look a little more finished and covering up some of that orange that was peeking through. And I really like how they look once I added in the leaves. I think they look so cute.
Try to grab it it's gone. Won't you sing to me? There ain't no other way but to sing to me. Simple as
So I really enjoyed putting this project together. I think it's so pretty. I love how it turned out. I'm really enjoying the colors. I hope you enjoyed this as well, my friends, and I hope that you like what I've created here. Thank you so much for watching. I'm always grateful for you carving a little time out of your busy day to spend this time with me. Please subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you here as part of the BREN'S Beauty Boutique family. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Also, if you'd like notifications every time I upload a new video, please click on that bell so you get notifications. Thanks again for watching, my friends. Have a beautiful day.